Welcome to Open Pakistan Education Network. Loops in computer programming. In a computer program, loops allow code in a program to decide how many times a code block should be executed. There are three types of loops in a computer program: a for loop, a while loop, and a do-while loop. Before explaining these types, I want to cite two different examples of loops, one without the loop programming construct, and the other to achieve the same result using a loop. In the first instance, the term Pakistan needs to be programmatically displayed 500 times. You can achieve this by using a display statement in your program 500 times. This is not an optimal approach. The same result can be achieved by typing the display statement one time inside a loop that executes 500 times. This approach is far more practical and optimal. Coming back to the types of loops, let's look at each one separately. A for loop is used when the programmer knows in advance how many times a code block needs to be executed. In a while loop, a condition is specified by the programmer, and the loop executes only when the condition evaluates to true. The condition introduces the possibility that the loop does not execute at all. Lastly, a do-while loop executes at least one time. The remaining part is similar to a while loop where the loop only executes subsequent times if the condition is true. In pseudocode, a for loop is shown on your screen. The loop executes 500 times where the value of variable a goes from 1 to 500. Every time the loop runs, the value of a increases by 1, starting at 1, 2, 3, and goes up all the way to 500. In a while loop, a condition specifies that the loop executes only if a is less than 300. The value of a is incremented by 5, and the result is stored in variable a, as shown by the statement on your screen. Before a can be used in the while loop statement, it is initialized with a programming statement. The first statement is value initialization. The second statement is the execution condition, and the third statement is called the increment statement. Finally, in do-while, after the loop executes once, the value of a is evaluated, and if it is less than or equal to 200, the loop continues to execute. Every time the loop runs, the value of a is incremented by 3. Also, a is initialized to 77 before the loop statement is first encountered. Here, the first statement is the value initialization statement. The second statement is the increment statement, and the third statement is the execution condition. The loops from the previous pseudocode examples are shown here in C#. A fourth loop exists in C# called the for each loop. More on that later. In C#, a for loop is shown on your screen. In the for loop statement, the first segment of the statement is value initialization, the second segment is the execution condition, and the third segment is called the increment statement. In a while loop, the first statement is used for value initialization. The second statement is the execution condition, which specifies that the loop executes only when the value of a is less than 300. The third statement is the increment statement. In a do-while loop, the first statement is for value initialization. The second statement is the increment statement where the value is incremented by 5, and the third statement is the execution condition specifying that the loop only executes if the value of a is less than or equal to 200. Finally, we get to the for each loop, which is used in C# to iterate over a collection. An example of the for each loop syntax is shown on your screen, where a collection initialization statement stores all the cities in a variable PSL, and the second statement is used to iterate over each member in the collection. In summary, this presentation covered loops, their types, and examples in pseudocode and C#.